I think the first thing we can think about is how do we increase household incomes and how do we improve the livelihood of Ugandans? How does this come about? So to improve the livelihood of Ugandans, I think the first thing we need food, we need healthcare, we need employment, we need education, a quality education, and we need roads and railway lines, basically infrastructure. These are the things we need. All these things have a financing component and a need to raise capital. So what we do is we've partnered up with the regulators, for example, the Capital Markets Authority, to see about deepening the financial markets, because the economy cannot grow unless you have a financial system that's able to tap into savings and channel these savings into these critical projects that are needed for economic growth. So when you develop the financial markets, you develop a market that's a meeting point between the saver who wants a return for their savings, both the local savers and the international community, which comes in the form of foreign direct investment, and the project that need to raise capital. For example, you need to do a road, you need to raise capital for that. You need to build a hospital, you need to raise capital for that. So this is a meeting point. A lot of the times we talk about the importance of, the food markets, for example, as a meeting point of where you need to buy food, you need to go, and the people who need to sell their food know where to go. But we don't talk enough about the importance of money markets. A meeting point of the savers who need a return for their investments and the people who need funding, they need capital for their projects. This is something that the CFA Society East Africa wants to focus on, the deepening of capital markets, to enable these projects to be able to raise capital to provide services, the critical needs, the goods and services that are critically needed by the economy. The way that the CFA Society East Africa can help businesses build capital is something that I touched on earlier, is the deepening of financial markets. This allows investors who want to invest for their capital to first know that these businesses are present looking for capital, and they're able to invest with the knowledge that when they want to exit in 10 years, they'll be able to find buyers for their investment, because they don't want to come and invest and get stuck. So what happens when you deepen the financial markets, the investors are able to put in their capital with the knowledge that with the knowledge that their investment is secure, that they're not being swindled, because no one wants to put money in a business and find out that that money has just been spent, not for the business, but maybe a family business, and they've partied away all the money. So you don't want that. So you want a market that is well regulated, that the interests of the investors are put first. Also, the CFA Society East Africa has a pool of charter holders who have undergone the rigorous training, the 3 levels of the CFA program, and they have an in-depth knowledge and expertise in the investment profession. They have a commitment to ethics and professionalism, and they have to put the investors' interests first before themselves. These charter holders are able to assess the value of businesses, to see, their value, what returns you can get out of them, and what risk that you're taking when you're investing in this business. They're able to give guidance to businesses on governance structures that allow the businesses to be attractive for investors. We're also supporting students in the candidate program in the CFA program. So we have a number of students at the 3 levels of the program, and these students are employed in different industries, in different companies within the investment industry. So by supporting candidates, supporting charter holders, and working to deepen the capital markets, we're creating an enabling environment that businesses are able to raise capital. When we're talking, for example, of the new budgets in East Africa, I can touch on a few benefits. When we look at Uganda, for example, when we're looking at the capital gains tax, they're now going to consider inflation as part of the calculation for capital gains tax. So that will reduce the amount of tax owed, and it will consider also the inflationary impact, because sometimes the gains are just inflation. So the fact that they're considering inflation as well. And then for the venture capital funds who are investing, there's a preferential treatment in terms of capital gains tax. where if they reinvest at least 50% within a year of their investment, there can be a non-recognition of capital gains tax at that time. In Kenya, we're looking at for a business, for example, they've removed the time limit on carrying forward of tax losses, so a company is able to carry forward their tax losses indefinitely rather than limiting 10 years, which means they're able to get a savings on the amount of tax that they pay. In Tanzania, we're looking at investment in government bonds. There's an income tax exemption that has been introduced in the new budget on investment in government bonds. Well, I think that goes to the savers. If you have, for example, if you have 50,000 today, in 5 years that 50,000 will not be able to buy you what you can buy today. So savers need, to look at, they need to put money aside, but they need to get compensated for not spending today. For example, if they're putting money aside for 5 years, they need a reward for that. That compensates them for the inflationary component and something extra that compensates them for the risk. So savers are able to, you can invest in the capital markets, you can invest through shares, you can invest through collective investment schemes, you can invest in bonds that are listed, and be able to get a returns, for your investment, for the money that you're putting aside for the future. I think the biggest thing is thought leadership. We have such a pool of talent in terms of our members, the charter holders and the candidates, who have a lot of knowledge that can be shared. We can give guidance to policymakers. We can partner with regulators, and so we have this pool of knowledge, I think, which has not been fully utilized. So we're looking at increased partnerships. Increased partnerships with regulators and those within the investment industry. We're looking at supporting our members, the growth of our members, increasing the number of charter holders within the East African region, supporting our candidates. Together with the global body, the CFA Institute, we have resources in terms of codes of conduct that can be adopted by asset management firms and by regulators. And we also have so much information that can be used by universities, supporting universities in also building the skills of their students. That's what we can look at. We had a research challenge which was going on, which was paused because of the COVID-19 situation. So I'm looking to get back to supporting students in getting skills within the investment industry, such that by the time they finish university, they have this additional skill. What I can say about the COVID-19 scenario, there's been a sort of economic crisis that has been created by this scenario, but this crisis has not been caused by, it's not a financial problem. It's not been caused by finance. It's a biological problem. It has been caused by a virus that spreads very fast, is very contagious, and has created a global pandemic. And the end of this crisis is also a biological one. It's vaccination. So if we need to all do our part and get vaccinated,